I hope it's an ethical diamond. I don't want it to be a blood diamond. I don't want to be talking about blood diamonds, but I don't know. All right, let's go back to this country right now. Today's confidence vote. Final numbers in the House of Commons, 152 to 152. They went to a shootout, sort of. They went to the Speaker to break the deadlock, and the Speaker traditionally sides with the government and did it in a rather smart-ass way, I won't mind saying, we'll just let you guys figure it out. So the Liberals are the short-term winners for sure, in that they get to keep their job. But what about the long-term? Besides the straight numbers, who are the real winners and losers after today's vote? So we're going to go to a guy, political junkie, columnist as well, for an online news site, which is called DooneysCafe.com. Max Fawcett, nice to see you.
Thanks for having me.
You were on last time we talked about smoking.
I was. Still a smoker, unfortunately.
Yes, you are still a smoker.
Yeah.
Okay, let's just go straight to it. This article I read from you, Trouble Ahead, talked about what it means for leaders in Canada. After you saw today, who's the winner?
I don't think there's a big winner today. It's certainly in terms of what I wrote about in that article. I think Jack Layton acquitted himself very well. I worked for Dennis Mills in the last election, so I'm hardly a member of the Jack Layton fan club, but he got some incredible things for people who live in cities in Canada, which is a lot of us, and I think he's to be commended.
So you think Jack Layton is the winner today?
I think if anyone can be called a winner in this mess, it's Jack.
But what about Paul Martin? I mean, Paul Martin looked like he was dead in the water a couple of weeks ago, even a week ago. And today he looks like he won something.
I guess I could compare it to somebody having a stay of execution. They haven't been pardoned, you know? I mean, he's still on death row.
How about the biggest loser then?
The biggest loser? It's hard to really find a loser in all this. I guess whoever it was in the Conservative Party who didn't sign Chuck Cadman's nomination papers, they better be looking for a new job because that's looking like a big mistake. But I think they're all losers, in a sense, because Canadians are looking at this mess that's going on and sort of wondering what happened to their politics, what happened to people with, ideas and values and ethics, and it's such a tawdry scene. I think a lot of Canadians are just going to start throwing their hands up and say, the heck with this. I'll find something else to do with my time.
How many fewer Canadians can vote?
Well, you'd be surprised. In the States, it's down to 50%, so we got a ways to go yet.
Stephen Harper hung a lot on this, and this was the day for him to win this vote because we know that he can't do it again in the minority on the opposition days. Even when we had Peter MacKay on, he said, not likely.
Yeah.
But does Stephen Harper, is he tarnished because he, sat at the table, he bluffed, and this is what happened?
It was a funny day for him, I think, because on the one hand, he'd put all his eggs in that basket, let's put this government out of its misery. But at the same time, the poll numbers afterwards that came out suggested that if they'd gone to an election, things would not have gone well for him. Certainly after the Belinda Stronach defection, the way that the Conservatives responded didn't help them in urban cities with the women, which are where they need to do better. Which they're calling her a dipstick, calling her, I won't even say it, but it was said, it wouldn't have helped them. So I think he sort of dodged a bullet today in a way.
And people know, and they should know, that when a couple of people who are politicians, provincial, whatever, say things like that, it isn't representative of the entire party. But do they really see past that, or do they just think this is just the same old attitudes rearing their head again?
There's a perception already out there that this is who they are. So whenever it pops up, I think it's just gonna make people go, aha, you are what I thought you were.
Is there a Mr. Congeniality out of today, or Mrs. Congeniality out of today?
Yeah, Mrs. I think Carolyn Parrish, she really impressed me because she, for those who don't know the backstory about how she's an independent now, she bitterly dislikes Paul Martin, and more specifically, bitterly dislikes his backroom operatives. Mm-hmm. And they basically ran her out of the party. So she had an opportunity today where he was basically begging her on hands and knees. Most people would sort of jump at the opportunity to seek revenge. She didn't. She did what was best for the country. She did what was best for her riding, and I think that's to be commended. Most people wouldn't resist that opportunity to pay people back so quickly.
She had the best quote as well. She wasn't going to let one ovary bring down the country.
Yeah, she's a jewel.
What you write about, when you talk about the stuff you write about, it's often about how we view this and what we think, and we alluded briefly to how Canadians would view this. Long term, though, because we have the Quebec issue to deal with. We have this country is so regionally divided now in a way that it hasn't been in a long time.
Yeah.
Long term, what do we see here?
I sort of compare this Parliament to a big kidney stone that we all have to pass. I really was kind of hoping, not because I didn't support the budget or anything, but just have an election. We're going to end up with another minority parliament anyways, because the Liberals aren't going anywhere in Quebec and the Conservatives aren't going anywhere in Toronto. Mm-hmm. They both need that to form a majority. So you know, have another election, have the next minority parliament, get some new leaders in there, and hopefully they can do something that these guys clearly can't. You know, show some vision, show some dedication, and pay attention to Quebec, because that train's leaving the station and nobody's paying any attention to it.
That's right. DooneysCafe.com. He talks a lot about the Quebec thing. You can read the story. It's called Trouble Ahead. The funny thing is, though, is that they're all relatively new leaders in their party, and we're still in this situation. Max, it's good to see you.
Good to have.
Max Fawcett.
Thank you.
There you go. Okay, after weeks of waiting, so we finally know, right? We can all stop worrying about what's going to happen. We can now get back to worrying about other things, because that was really the big debate in here, was with all the crap and all the, I want to take the day off, and that's a procedural vote. No, it's not. What we all found as Canadians was that nothing was actually getting done for us. The things we needed to worry about and we needed them to worry about weren't being taken care of. But now that this stuff is over for now, we can go back to the things that we need to worry about. For example, our top 5.